I was watching my nephew while he was doing his maths homework a few days ago, and I got reminded of this time period in my high school where we were supposed to do some kind of an arithmetic exercise at class, which required us to take at least 4 or 5 different steps until we could arrive at the answer. For some reason, I found that exercise very easy, and I also figured out a way to narrow the steps into only two instead of five. I remember that my teacher had a huge problem with this because even though I arrived at the exact same answer as everybody else in the classroom, to him, it was not so much the answer that mattered, but rather the process through which I had arrived at that conclusion. This got me thinking because I can see this pattern permeating in all aspects of our society. We have this general mindset that the more complicated or sophisticated we can make something seem, or the more methodical or analytical we can make something seem, the higher the mark of that individual or even our society's intelligence as a collective. But I beg to differ from that mindset because to me it seems as though the true hallmark of an intelligent society is when we can arrive at a point where we have simplified our understanding of the natural world, of people, culture, human behavior, science, mathematics, law, technology, and other intricate parameters or variables that we interact with on an everyday basis as an individual or even as a group. There's this really beautiful documentary that I watched a year back, which is called Aluna, and I will link it in my description, which showcases the lifestyle, the culture, the belief of the Kogi tribe from South America. There's this particular scene in the documentary where a few Kogis, along with their tribal elder, are flown to the United Kingdom because a scientist who has dedicated his entire life in studying dark energy, different types of star clusters and star systems in our night sky, wants to test the Kogi on their understanding of our natural world. This scientist doesn't leave any stone unturned in vocalizing his apparent superiority over the Kogis. He whips out the picture of a star cluster that can only be seen via a telescope, but much to his astonishment, the mama, or the Kogi elder, immediately identifies the one singular isolated star from that entire cluster, even assigns a name to it, and goes on to describe its properties, which baffles the scientist. Our left brain is not the only identifier of intelligence, because intelligence comes in all ways and forms, and it is also equally associated with other parts of our brain, particularly the right or the more feminine aspect of our being. And though this might not be an example that can be applicable to all things in our society, but at the same time, it still goes on to showcase that there is no such thing as a linear or a methodical attachment that we can associate intelligence with, as intelligence manifests in all ways and forms. And even though we might not have an iota of understanding as to what processes entail in order for certain answers to manifest, but the answers do manifest. In the way birds have the intelligence to build such meticulous nests which can shelter their young from the fiercest of storms, or in the way bees can organize into a unit to create such geometrically symmetrical hive, or even in the way, without having any formal education or left brain dominated faculty of conceptualizing the world, the Kogis of South America still have a wise understanding and interpretation of their natural systems. And rather, I would even go so far as to say that they have a much more aligned and synergistic relationship with nature, as opposed to some of the most educated modern people in our society. This is just something that I thought would be cool to share as a reflection today. Also, if you do happen to watch that documentary, then please drop a comment on what you thought about it, or you can email me your interpretation of that documentary, as I hold it very dearly on my in my heart. So that's all that I wanted to share today. Thank you for watching, and you'll see me again in my next video.